Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday. It's 11 o'clock and it's time for your Builders Live. I hope you got your coffee. I've got mine. It's a bit cold, but it's okay. It's coffee. And we have got a monster topic for you today. Close to my heart, makes me very excited. So much to talk about and share, but where to begin? Where to begin? It's like, I always say, someone was asking me the other day, like, what's your favorite plant, or how did you decide to get into gardening? I don't know what it was. It was some interview thing. And I said, it's probably, I can only understand how gardeners feel, which was the feeling that I used to have walking into a garden center. So going into a builder's, there are all these plants, they're all over, they're like this, that, there are all these products. And the feeling that maybe you get, which is kind of overwhelming. Where do I start? Sweaty paws, popping beads. It's nerve-wracking, guys. I get it. It can be. And the example I use is when I walk into a pharmacy and I walk down the alley when I've got flu. Okay? And they're just pills. There's just pills and every drink that you can take for coughing, and it's an entire aisle, probably of about 50 meters long. How do you decide? That's how I feel when I go into one of those. I'm like, whoa! I mean, you could take one of everything. Yeah, you've done that. You've put one of everything in your trolley and gone home. And chaos reigns. Chaos reigns. Most times those plants just jump into your trolley, which is what happens to me. But anyway, probably happens to you as well. Never mind. So guys, it's a big one today. I see lots of you online already, and we're going to break this down and keep it really, really simple so that if this is something that you're possibly dabbling in, or they just aren't doing it for you, or they're not looking as great as you think they should, then we're going to do our best to get all those answers for you. And most importantly, give you the inspiration into this most magnificent world of succulents. So before I get into that, let's say hello and good morning to everybody. On YouTube, we've got Geraldine. Good morning. Pink waving hand. Morning. Shan, good morning from hot, sunny Howick. How humid has it been? Yeah. Okay, Renata, good morning. Goeiemorgen from PE. Hey, I'm coming there soon. I'm coming to, when am I going? Next weekend. PE, I'm coming. Renata, please, will you speak to the big man upstairs? And please make sure that there is no wind on the day I arrive. Because, landing in PE, hi caramba, going over that big bay, daai klein vliegtuig, hy gaan so om in die ronde. Ja, en so gaan my maagie ook so. Marika, good morning. From Kempton Park. Ons het ons eerste reën gehad gister. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, your grass is going to awaken. And I see Terry Lee is there. Terry Lee, your lawn is also going to wake up now because you're also from that part of the world. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Valerie, good morning from Randburg. Bitty, also from PE. Jenny, good morning from Montclair. Guys, you are all over the country. All over the country. It's good to see you all here. And we are going to motor through this. What? Renata, wat sê jy? When is the 5th season of PE? I got to remember that. That's quite funny. Okay. Ja, nee, asseblief. Ja, ek smeek. Alrighty. So, let's jump into it. Let's talk about this big, grand world of succulents. What are they? Guys, they can range from a plant that is teeny weeny, insy bitsy, little, to huge, big plants, which we could also classify as succulents, which might be our aloes, because they all kind of fit into that. The genus is huge. There are many families that they belong to. They come from all parts of the world, but mainly Mexico's, down that strip there, Northern Africa, some in Central Africa, But let me tell you where the biggest population of succulents are. South Africa. South Africa. One of the hugest concentrations of the most amazing plants. Many of them we will only get to see in nature. And, you know, we went on a tour once, and the bus stopped on the side of the road, and there was just clipper. And I'm talking, it was clipper. It was early in the morning. It was bitterly cold. And we stopped, and I'd been waiting for this. It was outside Van Reinsdorp, and stopped on the side of the road, and we started walking. And in the beginning, you see nothing. You just see this quartz and rock quartz and white quartz. And then when you stop and your eyes adjust, the tapestry comes to life. And it is like your eyes have been opened to the littlest little lithops, which are known as the stone plants, to the little crassulas that are living in this hard, barren soil that gets rain a little bit during the winter, and then that awakens them. To cliffs in the Transkei where the most beautiful gasterias are hanging, to the peaks of the Drakensberg where there are the tiniest little ground covers that are growing just in a crevice, no root, no soil, nothing. They are completely amazing, and it's kind of like a wormhole. I'm going to say a really bad one because I got sucked into it, and I used to dabble in it a bit. Now I think I am a proper addict. Yeah, hi, my name's Tanya. I'm addicted to succulents. So it happens, but it's a lovely addiction to have. I could have many others. I won't tell you about those. I probably do. But the joy, the beauty, and I think to give you a taste of that, I'm going to share some of the plants that we've put out here. Now, whether you've got a balcony garden, whether you don't even have a garden, whether you've just got a windowsill, whether you've got your kettle, sink, something there, you can put a plant there. They're incredibly forgiving, and most times the reason why we kill them is through kindness. Too much water. That's generally why we kill them. I have at times seen one or two die of complete neglect. Remember, no plant can go without water completely. They're a bit like us humans, you know, they do need liquids every now and then. But there is a place for a succulent anywhere. And I think to get your juices flowing and your creative juices flowing, I'm going to jump straight into some images which just to share with you the diversity and what you could possibly do. And whilst you're watching these, whilst you're having a look at them, think of your garden. Think if you've got a courtyard, think if you've got a wall, think if you've got a difficult area. Just keep those pictures in your head because that, I think, is going to help you along the way. Okay, so let me see if I can open this PowerPoint. I'm not very good at it. Oh, look at that! I clicked the right button. Okay, so this is in our front garden. This is below the bank, and we have a really steep bank, guys, and was very difficult to work with. And the first thing I thought of, well, yes, let's build a rock wall, which is over here, which is a dry stacked rock wall. And then we just going to plant up aloes and succulents. And we plant what we call en masse. Now, guys, en masse is the term we use when we're planting not one. We want lots. And the beauty about these plants is that they're so incredibly forgiving that you can make loads and loads of babies. And I'm going to share that with you just now. Notice the different textures. So have a look right at the back, guys. And I'm going to just try and get this pointing pen here. Oh, there. Okay, there we go. Look at those grays. So you've got a lovely gray over there. That is a senecio. In front of it, We've got a aeonium. But all I want, don't worry about what the plants are. All I want you to look at is the colors. Because all of these here, even going up the stairs, in this entire garden bed here, these are all succulent family. So a lot of people say, but they don't get so many flowers. Tut, tut. They get lots of flowers. And it really, for me, is playing more with the texture and the beauty in the different size and shapes of leaves that we then get that detail that we're looking for in a garden. So let's pop over to the next one, which I do by, I think, hopefully pushing that button. Yes, look at that. Okay. This I love because this is about creating height, rhythm, and a focal point. So we've got that beautiful big agave Americana on the right-hand side. That's that variegated agave. And then slate or flat rocks used to create a little bed, all right, and some height. And then we've got some echeverias in that front bed. Simple planting, but it's about grouping. Now, next one, have a look at this. We spoke about color and that there aren't many flowers. But yes, the aloes have got flowers there. Look at the gray and against the beautiful red of that crassula. And those create the textures. The best thing I ever found was this little fahy to go in between the steps. And so incredibly forgiving. I mean, literally, the dogs run up and down there. You can walk on it. You can do whatever on it. And they are tough as nails. And they're about to come into flower now. But also notice, guys, please, that it's not one plant and one plant and one plant. When you start doing that, you end up with what we call the licorice all sort garden. Okay? And that's when chaos reigns. So that's when you open your eyes. When you are looking into the garden, if you close your eyes and you open your eyes and your eye actually doesn't know where to settle. And it's a very good way of kind of assessing your garden. You know, when you open your eyes and it's like dish, 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 like a bit schizophrenic, then you know that something's out with the groupings, if that makes sense. Okay, so where does your eye rest? Does it rest? And you will get it to rest when you group your plants. So if you've got a grey dude here and a grey dude there and the same grey dude over here, then guys, just bring them together. Lift them up, bring them together and put 3 together. 1, 2, 3. Remember in gardening, we work in odd numbers. 3s, 5s, 7s, 9s. Okay, you never just put 2 next to each other like that. That just looks doof. Okay, so you want to create those groups. All right, now look at this color here. This is spectacular. A simple crassula called Campfire. Grows like a weed, guys. During the winter months, it gets this beautiful red, deep red coloration on banks, window boxes, hanging baskets. That terrible Loffelstein, it works and it does the job, literally just by breaking off bits. And once you've got one, you really won't need to get any more. One of our firm favorites, and in last month's magazine we had the wonderful article about the famous 5 fahis, and they're also part of that family because they have got that soft fleshy leaf that you can squish. But there again, there's not just one, there's a group of them which form a brilliant border. And most of your aloes, succulents, anything that falls into this group are considered perennials. So it's not going to live, grow, die in one season. It's there for you. It's there. And as long as you are maintaining it and keeping up the basic care, which we're going to go through, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. Look at that texture, guys. Look at that. And that's called a stone crop. And I'm going to show you some of those a bit later. But a lovely sedum. Sedums are spectacular, low growing. Some of them only grow to like about 5-6 centimeters in height, low and flat, beautiful against the contrasting texture and color of the rocks. Nice and simple, nice and simple. In a small garden, one of the best ways to create a bit of impact, look at this, guys, So simple. It's a grinding stone, a bit of water for the birds, for the little bees to come and drink of, dwarf mondo grass, a few pebbles, and a group of Echeveria. Notice it's not one, it's a group. Important, okay, because the group then helps to centralize it and hold it. Okay, next one. I love this plant. Ooh, wah. Okay, this is spectacular. Sometimes called the jade plant. Really easy to grow. And this one over here is called Hummel's Gold. This is also a crassula. And crassulas, and I spoke to you about little crassulas, and this one can grow up to 1 meter in height. But how lovely is that with the gabions? So you've got that stark contrast again, and you've got the color contrast. So we're not talking flowers. We're talking using the color palette that we know. So golds, yellows go with blue. You know, when you're playing around, you're contrasting colors. So if we had to think about that in our garden with our succulents, well, here we've got the yellow of the crassula and then the blue of the stone. So you're getting that same effect by using those contrasting colors. Okay, this I loved. Power, beauty, statement plants. And notice, because this is something that goes wrong when we are planting our pots. Guys, this is such a simple hack. Beautiful, big, wide bowl. But notice the mound. And that's not because this little guy is taller than this little guy. When you're planting it up, you put your soil in and you mound your soil. Okay, so up and down, mound your soil. And then you take your little bubbas and then you just pop them in. So you almost replicating. Do you see the base of the bowl? You're replicating that on top. And that gives you depth variation, and dimension. That is just spectacular. And that's that cheap, common as mud, Echeveria, the one that we all know, the rock rose. But if this was flat, this was planted flat, it would no way, Jose, have the same effect as this. So it's simply about creating this beautiful mound. Okay, this I love, guys. Hang tight. You got to look at this because you're going to want to do this at home. This is like everybody's got this spot at home. A wall, a courtyard, side of the house, next to the garage. We have got this wall. But this wall just had a lick of paint. Look at the blue and the yellow again. Okay? The rocks, the flat rocks that we spoke about. Okay? Beautiful change in texture of the agaves, which are in these tall cylindrical pots. And then the groupings of the various succulents below. Man, I love this. I just love it. And to keep it simple, because some of us as gardeners would want to extend this bed. We would want to put more here. More. If we did that, we're going to lose the impact and the power of those 3 cylindrical pots. You're going to take away from it. You're going to be stealing away from it. So sometimes less is more. Okay. And then here you can have so much fun with them. You can plant in anything as long as it's got a hole and as long as it can hold some soil. These little round cement containers we actually made out of with a balloon. So, you blow the balloon up, put the cement on the outside, pack it, a basic mixture that's really quite dry, slap it on it, let it dry, pop the balloon, best part about it, about the whole thing. And here is once again just colors, textures. So no matter if you are old or young, beginner gardener or advanced gardener, there is something in here for you. I can guarantee you. Oh, Susan, we've got somebody from Bloemfontein. Man, we were there the other weekend. What a killer weekend that was. Okay, my husband's My husband refuses to take me to town, and especially to builders, as the succulents beg me to save them and then jump into my trolley. I know. You must go to management. You must complain to the builder's management. Tell them that the plants are jumping onto your trolley. But isn't it lovely? Man, there can't be a better retail therapy. There cannot be. Okay, guys. Right. So, we know that we can use them as focal points. All right? So when we're considering focal points, we've got to think about texture. So come along with me, this side over here. And it's kind of like basic common sense. And I want you to think about this. If we are considering a space in the garden where we want to use a succulent or an aloe type as a focal point, we want it to have large leaves. We want it to have large leaves, or we want it to be multi-stemmed. It's got to occupy space and volume, or else it is going to get lost. Now, plants like this, like the beautiful agaves, which are also filling into and fitting into that kind of genera of plants, will do the job perfectly. Another plant that will work fantastically is this, which is the stunning aeonium. Now, aeoniums are an interesting plant because not all succulents require dry, hot conditions. This guy over here is actually from the Canary Islands. So we call them a subtropical succulent. And aeoniums are known for their, I mean, look at the size of this head. Look at that. It is spectacular. This is called kiwi. You get many different varieties. I'll show you a few just now. And these actually enjoy, rather than a full day sun, a half day sun. And consider this, please, that most of your succulents will actually be happier if they are in a spot where they're getting either a full morning or a full afternoon, not hot baking. Unless you want them to look like they do on the roadside in Van Reinsdorp. I, on the other hand, grow mine quite spoiled. I do. I spoil them. I want them to look lush and gorgeous. And I don't really want to emulate nature, which is where they're all shriveled up and trying to like just survive. So there are different ways. And that's why I honestly believe that you can get that lush, gorgeous, tropical look, even if we are just using succulents. Okay. So consider focal points, gap fillers, quickest and easiest to fill gaps. Grouping them, keep your groups, 3s, 5s, 9s. Contrasting textures, remember that. And here's a fine example. Now, in that, in the one slide that I showed you, take a look at this pot. There was that plant that I called Hummel's Gold. It was a crassula. This is it. And look at this pot over here. So in a pot, instead of one singular plant, we have got a beautiful combination. We have got a little senecio here, the crassula, an aloe, cotyledon, and then a little kalanchoe. So we've got the reds playing with the greens, the changes in texture, a bit of grey. So, and don't get hooked, don't get like kind of hung up on the names, because yes, they are terrible names. I mean, the names are really awful, but don't really get hung up on them. Just all I want you to do is look at the colors and the textures, and play with that. Because when you put them into a pot, remember, you're containing and you're constraining the growth. And yes, I know that this guy over here is going to grow faster than the rest, but that's okay. I can just prune him back, and then I can make some babies and move it somewhere else. So bottom line is, don't get overwhelmed with all the very long, terrible botanical names. Think about colors and textures that you can then work with. Okay, that is going to make you successful. All right. Okay, now let's go back along to this side over here, and we are going to talk to you about some of the different varieties. Now, it's like, okay, wait, come here. Now, when you think of succulents, guys, you're going to think spiky, terrible, hurt me, seriously hurt me. Now, they're not all like that. In here, look at these over here. These are little mammillarias. So also part of the succulent family. Guys, you'll find these as little bubbas at Builders by the succulent section, and they're in small, small little pots. These, in fact, they originally came from Builders, these three little guys, and I popped them into these pots. So you're going from these little mammillarias, which are nice and easy to propagate, and we're going to show you that just now. Look, they're coming into flower even. So they've been living in there for years, absolute years and years. And when it does come to transplanting and repotting, we'll show you just how easy it is. Other varieties, let's go along this way, because some people say, well, I don't really have a sunny spot. Yes, because you're in a flat, you've got a very shaded courtyard or patio. That's okay. There are plants and there are succulents that love living in that. One is this. Now, she's my blonde. I mean, look at her. She's got lovely hair. This plant, really interesting because it's got these segments. The leaves are segmented. Those are the leaves of the plant. It's called Ripsalis. You get many different varieties of it, and when you start just looking into them, you get yellow, golden ones, more that are green. The more sun you put it in, the more golden it's going to go. This one has been growing in a lot of shade, so you can see it's taken on a more green appearance, and also with the lovely yellow flowers. So this Ripsalis, and you can often find them in a hanging basket. They do perfectly well. Others that love the shade, come and have a look here. So these are built for shade. These are our indigenous succulents. These are called Haworthias, and this is the variegation. So what has happened with Haworthia, which used to be it's a genus within South Africa, mainly down the Eastern Cape and into the Western Cape, where they grow in the rocky outcrops. They used to just be plain green, and then the plant gurus took this plant and crossed it with something else, took a lot of the seeds, germinated them, and eventually, through a slow process of selection, managed to get variegation into them, which is now highly, highly sought after. These love shade. They don't want sun. And you can tell because it's got very pale leaves. You can almost see through some of the leaves, and we call those the windows. And here's a perfect example of this Haworthia. When you look through the leaf where these margins are, you can actually see the cell structure, and we call those the windows of the soul. And those plants can grow in a lot of shade. They don't like the sun. So there's no need for you to tell me, well, I am going to battle because I don't have those kind of conditions. You do. And you've just got to select. So how do we work on a process of selection? The thicker, the fleshier the leaf, if you can't remember the names, the thicker, the fleshier the leaf, that you can actually squash it. Remember this one? Take a look at this one. You can see thick, 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 fleshy leaf. That means it's going to cope in very shaded conditions. Okay. So your Haworthia, Haworthiopsis. Others over here, come along with me, and we are going to show you these. These also love the shade, guys. These are called gasterias. Now, gasterias, those are the ones I told you, saw in the Transkei, hanging off the cliffs. Gasterias are the weirdest. Also, small genus, endemic to South Africa, and love the shade. Absolutely just love the shade. You can also put them in full sun. They have got the most incredible textures. When you look at them, it almost looks like a frog, like a frog's back, and they've got these little dimples. They get a beautiful flower, and here's the flower, and I'm going to just turn this so that you can see where the name came from. Gasterias get these beautiful flowers. Look at the shape of the flower, and it got its name because the shape of the flower in maturity actually looks like our gut. So gastro, and that's where it gets its name from. Many different varieties, from small little teeny weeny guys to huge leafed ones. This is the sedum, guys. Oh, I was telling you about the sedum. I showed you that a bit earlier. The little grey sedum. Okay, nice teeny weeny. Okay, hanging baskets. String of dolphins, string of pearls, whatever you want to call it, guys. Everybody's got a string of something, and you're all collecting them. But easy to grow. Love the shade. And, you know, look, when you break that off there, there's roots already. So you can go and make babies and make more. Really simple to grow. And enjoy growing in semi-shade or even just in light. So you don't need sun. Sun you don't need. Okay, now I'm not even going to go down this road, but I'm just going to give you a quick sneak peek, because that's what we can do. We can give you a quick sneak peek at some of the other varieties, and then I'm moving on to care. So these over here are the Mexicans, from all over the world, being hybridized by the Japanese because they just love them, and I love them too. You get plants like this, nano cactus. You get this, which is called Salcanocorbia. Terrible words. I mean, really, it sounds like you've got a disease. Seriously, this is a mammillaria, but you get textures. This is called snowdrops, and you can see why it's called snowdrops. But I get mesmerized by the texture, the colors, the patterns, the geometry, and the perfection of nature, really. And I think that's what calms me, which is why I really like these plants, because it's repetition. It's a simple formula. And for those of you that know the Fibonacci formula, you will find that in almost every succulent. The geometry is astounding, And then down to a little Haworthiopsis, which is our indigenous one, and this little guy's called Tiny Tots. And you can see why it's called Tiny Tots, because it's a little and they get these beautiful little, what they call the bilobate flowers, which are fertilized, which are pollinated by a bee with a very, very long proboscis, one type of bee. So if you want to make pollinate these, you've actually just got to take a little piece of hair, your own hair, or a bit from a paintbrush, and then you've got to pop it in there and then pollinate them. But yeah, we'll get there. Right, guys, so much. Let's get on to some of the basics. How are we going to display these things? Okay, so displaying, very simple. A pot on its own is okay. 3 fits better. Yes. When considering planting them up, try and keep your consistency of your containers, because that's when it starts getting scary. When you get a pink one, and you got a glazed one, and you got a plastic one, and you got this one. You'll notice that most of mine are in a same hue. They're either in the concrete pots that I've made or in a terracotta pot, because then you get that consistency. As soon as you start by putting them all in different things, it's that licorice all sorts, like I'm having a bit of a brain moment, you know. Eyes start flickering all over. And that takes away the calmness, the complete consistency and calmness of everything that we see. So keep it simple. It also helps you. I'm going to take you back to that aisle in the pharmacy. Remember that aisle in the pharmacy? So many choices. What do I choose? I choose this. Plain and simple. Stick with it. It's going to make your life and your decision making a whole lot simpler. Okay. Very importantly, with all of these plants is about drainage and position. And a very interesting thing when working with succulents, and a mistake that often that we make, is when we get a little plant, we'll leave it in that same little pot. Now, guys, that is the transportation mechanism from getting it from builders to your home. Okay? It needs something to live in. So we buy it in this little pot, Sometimes the pot is pink or purple. It's a little plastic thing. It looks quite cute. And we leave it in there. It cannot live there forever. It cannot. It needs to get moved on. But what you don't want to do is take it from a little guy like this, a little pot, and then all of a sudden put it into a big pot like that. That can often be the death trap. So you rather want to go what we call one pot size up. Okay, so from small to your neck size pot. It helps the plant, it protects the roots, and it does make life a whole lot easier for the plant. And I found with planting that it really does work better, and I have far less losses. Makes sense, eh? Yeah. Okay, let's get along to how do we make more. And folks, this is where I really say life gets super interesting. And there are so many different ways that you can. And we're going to go through a couple of the basics. So come in here and have a look. And, oh, I lost a fella there. Okay, so easiest way to do it, if you're wanting to make more, guys, simplest way is by leaves. Okay, so have a look in here. These are one of my little pachyverias. And all it is the leaves being broken off, popped on to a bit of growing medium, left in a well-lit spot. Well-lit, not direct sun. Okay, very important, not direct sun. The medium that you can use here, you can use a palm peach, you can use a succulent mix, which I'm going to show you in a second, and you just pop the leaves on here. There are various ways of doing it. Some people put the leaves on. You can see over here, I mean, look at this, Nunu. Come on, Mommy. They call these moonstones. Its botanical name is dreadful. It's called Pachyveria. Pachyveria, what's its second name? Can't remember its second name. Pachyveria, terrible names. I mean, how do you spell that even? Anyway, these are called moonstones. Very, very slow, but you can see just the little leaf, the little guy is growing off there. So, and all we've done is taken the leaves and popped them into one of these trays. Keep it in a well-lit area, and you're not even going to water these. You are not going to water them. These you would give a misting to probably every third day. That's all you would need to do, just a bit of misting. And that's all they would need. They take the energy from the plant, from the leaf, and you can see they take the energy and then grow it in. And that energy then makes that leaf grow. So, Oliviferium, Oliviferum. Yeah, how couldn't I remember that? Man, doof moment. Okay, so leaves is the one. I want to show you with the leaves though, because a lot of us get it wrong. And it's a very, very simple thing that we get wrong. So I just broke this Echeveria off this morning because, yes, sometimes they do get all long and lanky. And that's just literally through age. So what you would do is take off the dead bits here. I do remove the flowers. And when I remove the flowers, you take it sideways, and out it comes. Now, the easiest way to get the leaves off, guys, because there's a way to get the leaves off. If you don't get what we call the meristematic basal tissue with it, your leaf is not going to grow. And it sounds terrible, it's like long words, but just don't worry, I'll show you. When I take them off, it's a very simple way that I do it. I take the leaf in between thumb and forefinger, and I literally just go sideways. Sideways, jiggle, jiggle, out it comes. Jiggle, jiggle. You want to remove the leaves when you're succulent, like the day after watering. Because then the leaves are nice and firm and turgid. When your leaves are quite soft and floppy, they tend to break and tear. And then you're like, oh, come on, I'm so bad at this. It's not that you're bad at it, it's just that you chose the wrong time to do it. So, okay, so jiggle, jiggle. And yeah, there we go. See, I've messed it up. Okay, you've got to be patient with this. And it probably also helps me to improve my patience skills. Okay, now I want to show you when I take these off. Okay, look here now. Come and look in here. So, do you see there's that little tear? Do you see that little piece there? when you get that little piece, there, just that little piece there, and you can see this little like notch there, you're on the money. You have hit the jackpot. That's what you want. There's that, you can almost see like a little pip in there. And that is what we call the meristematic tissue. As soon as you get that, you know your leaf is going to grow. So, all what we do, take these, pop them here, pop them there. Okay, this one, he's a goner. All right, lay them on some growing medium and away you go. It is that easy. Imagine how many plants I could get out of this. Imagine. And when you get going and when you kind of got your confidence up, you could literally sit in front of the TV. True story, I do. Sit in front of the TV, you can watch your program, and you can just go ahead and remove leaves, and you can pop them into one of these trays because no soil is required for this exercise, so you won't be upsetting any of the household domestical, you know, those things. And you can literally just go ahead like this, and all of a sudden, Bob's your uncle, you have got a whole lot of leaves that you can now play with and make more babies with. Okay, when you get to this part, you've now taken all the leaves off. Don't take them all off, all right? I want you to take the Echeveria, whatever it is, hold it there. You're then going to cut it, all right? And you are going to just let it sit like that. And you can either take it, let it sit like that, or you can pop it into a tray. But what we want to do is we want to call what it calls callousing. Now, these we cut a while back. And you see it's formed a little scar. It's much like when we cut ourselves and we get it, then a scar starts forming over a scab over where we've cut, and that is the scar. The scar is important before you plant it. Don't take this guy with its sap oozing here and shove it into the soil. Negative. When you do that, this is going to start rotting. Okay, like, it makes sense. You know, you've got to let this seal up first, then you will plant. Okay, so it's a patience thing. So you got to cut today, wait a few days, and then you can go and plant them. Nice and easy. Okay, right, so that's leaves. I want to show you here, how else do you take babies off? Now, this is a Aeonium. Aeonium, that same one that I showed you over there. This one I think is called Big Bang. Oh, no, this is Medusa. Okay. One piece of implement that you really do need is a, what are these things called? Tweezers. They are quite elongated. I could do surgery with these. And you can pick these up anywhere. You can take the tweezers from inside the house. Strongly would not recommend it. And why am I using these things? Well, come on, I know you've done it. There's a weed growing in there. You try and get your hands in there. You're getting in between. You break the leaves of the plant. You want to slap yourself because you are so annoyed that you just damaged the plant. And you were telling yourself before you put your hand in there, you're going to hurt the plant. But you still went ahead and did it. So, tweezers. Best way to get rid of weeds. You can get in there. Come here, you little chappy. Yeah. There it comes. Okay, that's what you want. All right, let's get to this Aeonium. Now, many succulents make babies off babies. So you can either leave them, of course, but of course you can use it to make more. And you can see as soon as there's some basal growth, we can just take this little guy off here. We could take these leaves, snap these leaves off just like I showed you earlier, and we could grow these leaves. Indeed, we could. We could grow them, and we could also then use the top. So, nice and simple, nice and easy. Okay. Now, another way. Guys, I'm sure you have seen Exhibit A. Okay, a really sad-looking creature. Now, this guy is quite this is an Echeveria, but it is a bit of a fussier one. I've never really had great luck with it. I did remove a whole lot of the leaves a few months ago, and now I'm left with this. Okay, so now what do? Because some of you will have this at home. Like, well, it looks miserable. I mean, honestly, it looks like a science project. So what are my options? Well, let's go through it and show you very, very simply how you can restore this thing into some sense of normality and keep it going. Because, of course, you don't want to lose the plant. So what we're going to need is some succulent mix. Now, at your local builders, you can pick up a bag of this, which is succulent potting soil. Okay, to make life simple, I'm going to get a trug, my trusted trug, and I'm going to add in a few scoops of this. And your succulent mix it's got some small bark in it, it's got some river sand in it, it's got a bit of perlite in it, but I do find it is a bit heavy still. Now, it depends. Like I said, I like to grow my plants quite spoiled, so which means that I do water quite a bit. But if you are not going to water a lot, I water once a week. If you are not going to water a lot, then this medium will do the job quite happily. But because I kind of overwater, which is just a thing, what I normally do is I take perlite. Now, perlite you can find at your local builders in small little bags. It's a volcanic product, and it is crushed down, and you can almost hear it. It's like the squeaky, squeaky. Okay, really good for drainage. Really, really, really good for drainage. And it does not break down. It takes years to break down. So when you add it to your potting soil, what you're going to get is extra aeration. Aeration is so important for the rooting. So I'm just going to add about, let's say I put in 5 scoops. I would do a ratio of half. Okay. That's what I would do. I also add something else to it. Now, I add a bit of root builder, okay, bio rock, and here, maybe scoop or 2, okay, and I will add in 1 or 2 handfuls of all-purpose organic fertilizer, because now I know that what I've added in here into my mixture, I know that this guy, whatever I do with it, transplant it, replant it, I know that it's going to be incredibly happy. Well drained, lots of aeration, plus it's got food. Yes, remember, they can't live on nothing. All right, so mixture here, remember I said it's about half of your perlite, so it is a very well drained mixture. Okay, get this all mixed up nicely. Now I'm going to show you your options when it comes to this guy over here. And yeah, it can get quite messy, so I do recommend that you either get a tray or something to work with, and we'll show you the quick and easy way to do it. Now, guys, if you are growing mammillarias, I'm just going to do a quick side hustle here. If you are growing them and you want to know how on earth do I transplant these guys, well, briar tongs do the job. Yes, the ones with the rubber on the end, please. The ones with the rubber, if you use the plain metal ones, excuse me, you are going to hurt the plant. So the ones with the rubber, and all you're going to do, it's really simple, guys. Get it in there. So let's go over here. Let's get it in here. Okay, grab it, get it in there. You're going to turn, twist it as low down as possible, okay? So you've got this, you see it's right down here at the base. It's not up here. Right down at the base, twist it, and mommy, there it comes. Okay, nobody was harmed in the making of this new plant. Nice and easy, guys. Okay, simple. So, not only for boerewors, né? Okay, let's go back to this shame. It really is bad, but I did choose as an example that you'll understand. Okay, so pots, yes, check. What are we going to put at the bottom of the pots? Well, we can put some drainage pebbles. Yep, we've all got some of those, a bit of gravel. Don't use expensive stuff, guys. Just use cheap and nasty, plain gravel, all right? So you can put gravel at the bottom, all right? Gravel at the bottom of your pots, or you can do it 2 ways. You can take a little piece of shade cloth, cut a little square, okay, and pop the shade cloth in the bottom of the pot, and that stops the soil from running through. Right, got that. Easy, tick. Now, if we are going to make babies, which we clearly are going to here. We are going to take this mixture, our exact same mixture that we used. We're going to add a bit into a germination tray. And what I will do on top of this, okay, what I will do on top of this is that I'm going to add a wee bit of palm peat. And the reason why I do the palm peat is because it just helps to retain that extra bit of moisture for when I am out and about and busy, and sometimes I won't get to watering them. And that will be specifically with the leaves. What I do like about the palm peat is that when I put the leaves on here, because it's so soft, and remember your palm peat comes in that block, eh? This block here. So remember it comes in the block, and then you add water, 3 liters of water, and it breaks it up into all of this. So this is what I would do. First of all, I'm going to, now just start to calm down now, okay? Before you start like you're going to kill it. On half of them, I am going to remove. Okay, half of them, I'm going to do that. Yes. Okay. I am going to take some leaves off. I'm going to take some leaves off, and these leaves I could use. I would let them just lie there because we're not going to plant it immediately. We need them to callus. So what you could do for callusing is you could just take them from there and you could just pop them into here. Just let them sit somewhere. Okay? Just let them sit somewhere until they've calloused. From there, then into, let's pretend that they've calloused. We would then take these leaves here, and all we would do is then plant it. Planting is really easy, guys. I mean, literally, you're just going to take it and push it in there. What I do use, chopsticks. Chopsticks. The best planting tool in the world. Okay, and I have these, you know, Chinese takeaway. And especially when you're dealing with fine, very small plants, I like using it just to get in there. And it helps just to hold the plant and give it a bit more structure. Now, these that I have taken off the tops and there are no more leaves at the base, I then chop those off. I am removing. These ones that are left here, I'm going to transplant one, but what I'm also going to do is the following. And this trick, guys, this hack is going to really save you a lot of plants. Now, you get a little bowl, you're going to get some of this, Dynaroot. This is rooting hormone powder number 1, which is for soft cuttings. Now, rooting powder is basically the hormone that they've managed to simulate that plants need, that they create naturally in order to produce roots. And that hormone is then mixed in with this. We add a bit of water. I'm going to make a paste out of it because I'll show you what we want to do in a second. So we're just going to make a paste because it doesn't really mix well in water unless you do make a paste. So like when you're making roux or, you know, for cooking, that is. So get that little paste going. There we go. Okay, and how much, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter. Because what we would normally do is we would normally just take our cutting, dip it into the dry powder, and then plant it. But for succulents, it doesn't really work. Why? Number one, we are allowing this to dry. So therefore, if you put the hormone powder on it, when it's dry, it's not really going to have any effect when it's got the callus. And there have been so many tests, and I've read so many different ways that people do it. So I don't do it personally. I let them callus and then straight into there. However, you're going to take this paste now, and I'm going to pop it into a little spray bottle. Okay. So remember, this is hormone powder. This is rooting powder. This is a growth powder. Okay. Into that, I'm going to mix a bit of my magic seaweed mixture, which is called Kelpak. And I'm going to put just 10 mils because I've literally got a liter here. So it's 10 mils into a liter. So I've added in here now, I've got a mixture. I've got a rooting hormone compound, and I've got a seaweed mixture, which is going to encourage growth, cell division, new shoots, You get where I'm going. Okay, take this little baby here. Okay, give it a good shake. Okay, and then on the naked stems, you're going to spray that. And you're going to wait. And on those naked stems, that mixture that I've just added now is going to force growth, which means that we are going to get a lot of new growth coming off there, because if I had to chop that off, that would die, because there's no engine, there's no greenery, there's no engine to make it grow. So we don't cut it off. What we do cut off, we will make babies with. This, we're just going to spray every second or third day, have it handy, walk past, spray, go, Bob's your uncle, away you go. And you will then have babies coming off it. Then you can make more. Nice and easy. Okay. Right. Other way that we did, that we can do cuttings, of course, is that we can propagate, is to do it through cuttings, guys. Nice and easy. You can see that we've done here. Remember, cuttings must be small. It's not, size does not count in this situation, boys and girls. Okay? So consistency, small, and you can see these were planted a few weeks ago, and already they're getting some new leaves. So it is really about that. Small, consistent, keep them the same so that watering is nice and easy. In terms of diseases, guys, because some of us do get diseases in our plants, and it just happens. It happens. Okay, quickly, to go through some diseases, let me show you some exhibit A and B. Mostly with succulents, you're going to find two problems. And in terms of insects, and the two problems you're going to come across is, number one is this. You have to get really close in here. This is a sempervivum, also known as a house leek. They turn these beautiful reds. You get greens, low-growing plants. But deep inside here, can you see that white fluffy stuff? That white fluffy stuff is called mealybug. Now, mealybug you can either get rid of by using a paintbrush, and I will get us a little paintbrush, and you can take a paintbrush and you can literally get in there. And if you've got the patience, you can do that. Come over it. Right, I can't see myself doing that all the time. Mealybug does come along. It loves succulents and it gets stuck right in there. So how do we treat that? That's the first I'm going to show you. Here is a typical growing problem where you get the browning like this and almost a scabbing. That is too much water. Far too much water. Okay. And you can see that this guy's also stretched. So it's stressed. It needs these leaves cleaned up. It needs the leaves cleaned up and then repotted into a fresh, well-draining potting soil. Okay. Take the damaged leaves off and the rosettes, and then there's our little bubba that we can plant. Right. Mealybug, which is the most, it is, in fact, out of all the diseases I have found, mealybug is the one that really gets to me the most, that I do find on my plants. And I have two very simple solutions, guys. This is very easy. The one is called Garden Gun. Garden Gun, guys, it's mixed, it's ready to spray. You literally just turn the nozzle and hoy, okay? And you can get it right into the nozzles. You know what I like about it? It's like, it's here. It's here, I get it, I pick it up, I use it. I don't have to mix it, I don't need to worry about dilution rates. If I've got a 750 bottle or a 2-liter bottle or a 10-liter knapsack, I don't need to worry about that. I just pick it up and spray. And it gets rid of all those hochos. Remember, with mealybug, it requires consistency. Once a week for at least 3 to 4 weeks, you've got to spray this. The other one that I do once I've planted up my plants, and I'll show you here, is called insecticide granules. And this is a systemic, guys. What does a systemic mean? So you see, you can make a little hole at the top of the bottle here. And all I do, it's little granules, so you don't even have to touch it, is I sprinkle some of the granules around, which means as I'm watering, that is going to get taken into the soil. It'll then get taken up into the roots, so that when any disease, when any insect tries to attack this or make it its home, goes away to the neighbor, which is even better. Right, guys, those are the two main things. So insecticide granules, I put on every 3 months. Garden gun, I apply when I see hojos and nunus. Toppers, toppers, toppers. Consider what you put around your succulents to emphasize and accentuate the colors and the textures that you're working with. These two plants here, hot off the press, guys, straight out of Europe, hit the international plant world. You're going to find them at your local builders. These are called mangaves. I'm not going to tell you any more about them because they are spoken more about in depth in your latest issue of the Garden and Detail Need, which you will find at your local builders. Plus, we've got a gorgeous article on clivias. I mean, who doesn't want that color clivia? Go in there, look at that color. Look at it, look at it. Yummy. Okay. So, mangaves, it's my latest craze. It's called Mangave Madness. I've got 5 so far. I need a whole lot more. They're softer. They don't have the bad, spiky thorns like the agaves have, but they're wicked. They're gorgeous. But talking about toppers, black gravel, stunning. Small little pebbles, pellets, marbles, shells, whatever you want, guys. Find something that works for you. There are no rights and wrongs. There are no ways that you should be combining and shouldn't be. I've merely suggested ways to improve it. It's your garden at the end of the day, and I can't be the judge of that. It's yours. So if you want one, and if you want another one over there, that's also okay. It really is what works for you. I have ways and methods that I plant them to hopefully accentuate them and make them be bolder and make them happier. But at the end of the day, it really is what works for you. So that is the 101 of succulents in a whiz, as they say. I hope you have been inspired. Remember, if you're looking for more inspiration on gardening, to check out the Builders blog. That's at builders.co.za. And also check out their YouTube channel, because there you're going to find loads of things. Don't let the person who's into DIY check the channel out, because they'll be in trouble. They'll be building everything. Guys, there is loads of information out there. Choose your sources, pick it well, get inspired, and find something that, whether you're old or young, you can enjoy and make more of, and grow your heart and grow your mind. Till next time, take care of you and yours, and as always, happy gardening.